everybody. This is Co-Anglers Corner podcast with John and Rob. Rob's going to be a minute or two late, having some technical difficulties, but we're going to bring on Travis Birch. He's the owner of the Ladies Bass Anglers Association. We're going to have him come on here in a second and let him talk to us a little bit about what they have going on and a little bit about the history of the LBAA. Welcome, Travis. How are you?
Good. How's it going, man?
Not too bad. Thanks for stopping on.
Hey, no problem. Anytime somebody needs a spot coast, I'll jump on as long as I'm available. I don't have my normal camera set up, so you're gonna have to deal with cell phone quality. So I apologize for that.
No apologies. No apologies needed. Anytime we can get someone on is a pleasure for us. So, I apologize, everybody. Angie had a commitment. She didn't realize it was coming up, and she had to get that taken care of. So, thanking her for just keeping us in her thoughts by letting us know she couldn't make it. So we reached out to Travis, and he was gracious enough to fill in for her. So, all right, we got Rob popping in.
All right.
Hey, he's got audio now. All right.
Hey, there's one more than one way to skin a cat.
There you go.
That's no joke. When Rob said that you guys needed a spot or a spot guest real quick, and I was like, I can do it with a cell phone. Sure, why not?
That's what I'm on now.
My wife's helping me put everything together real quick. I couldn't even see until just now. So
yeah,
that's why 15 minutes notice, but we'll get her done.
That's right,
man.
Man.
There we go. It's not too bad, actually. We try to keep it as a family-friendly atmosphere, you know, all light. So, Travis, if you don't mind, can you tell us a little bit about the LBAA?
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of give you the full scoop of how we even got involved with the LBAA if you want.
Sounds great.
Yeah, I've been the youth director for the state of Kansas for 4 years for the youth and high school Bass Nation and college program. I bought a boat from a brother-in-law that got in a bind, and he had a brand new boat with less than 50 hours on it. And I wanted to get back into fishing anyways, and had never owned a nice bass boat. So basically got a brand new bass boat with 50 hours on it and was able to help a family member out. And that led me into boat captaining into the youth program about 6 years ago. And then the existing youth director was wanting to step down because his kids had graduated out of the program, and he was just looking for somebody. We joke around that, dumb enough to volunteer. But everybody looked at me that day, and I decided to take it on, and I just fell in love with it. Running the tournaments, seeing the kids smile, seeing people actually spend time with their kids and turn it into a family atmosphere. Which then that led to me wanting to start the World Fishing Tour, which is a team format with a little bit of a twist. We do an entire season in a week. So we basically show up to a lake, depending on what the lake wants. We show up to that lake, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whatever day they want us there, and we're there for an entire week, if not more. Our next tournament, we're actually going to be there for 10 days. But they basically fish you can fish any day that you want. It's like an entire season in a week. You pick however many Saturdays you would in a normal tournament season. The only difference is it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You can fish as many day ones as you want. And then we have a week-ending championship. So all that normal season team style money that's held over for the end of the year for a championship gets all included in 1 week. So that way we can go to a lot of destinations and have some really big prize pools. Well, that took us to Bull Shoals last year because the central part of the lake, there with Craig LaPointe and Jennifer, and then the other side of the lake at Lakewoods Resorts wanted to have some more tournaments come to their area. So Lakewoods Resorts reached out to us, which is across from Craig and Jennifer, which is where the LBAA normally goes out of. Reached out to me and wanted to host a World Fishing Tour event. And so we went and put one on. They wanted to do a 5-day event. So we did 4 days of qualifying, Tuesday through Friday, and then we did a championship on Saturday, and we paid out $10,000 to the winner like we normally do. And during that week, I was able to cross paths with a guy named Craig LaPointe, which owns Anchor Point Resort there at Bull Shoals, and he's been heavily involved with hosting the LBAA. I think 2 or 3 out of the last 4 years, if I remember right. They've been going on for so long, I get all the dates confused on where they've been and where they're going. But So he came over to fish my tournament, and he came up to me and he goes, Travis, I'm going to fish your tournament on whatever it was, Tuesday or Wednesday. He goes, but I can't fish championship day. And I said, what do you mean? I said, that's where all the money's paid out. And he goes, I can't fish championship day because I have a prior obligation with Fishers of Men tournament down on Greer's Ferry in Arkansas. He goes, I'm a man of my word, and I stick behind my word, and I'm going to fish that tournament regardless how I do in this tournament today. And I said, Craig, save your $300, buddy. Like, $300 isn't worth it for the prize pool for you not to even be able to fish on Saturday. He said, you're supporting my area of the lake and my neighbors by bringing it here. The least I could do is buy into your tournament and help build the prize pool. And I immediately looked at my wife and my dad, my bump board guy. This is my right-hand man, Steve French, that travels with me. He's, kind of like a silent partner, sweat equity partner in this whole deal. And he said, we got to go support him every night. We had already spent like $400 in groceries. We went over there, got ice cream. We went over there, ate dinner, and we got to know Craig and Jennifer pretty well. They got a sweet little resort down there, a nice little restaurant. And man, if you host a tournament ever at Bull Shoals, you got to go to Anchor Point. It's an awesome area. You also got lake woods across the lake to be able to stay at too, so you can handle plenty of boats. But we started talking, and he goes, Travis, after fishing your tournament, you treated my little Wednesday flight of 6 boats or 7 boats, whatever it was, like it was the Bassmaster Classic. He's like, you were playing music, and that particular resort had some fireworks and stuff that they did for him. We did national anthems, prayer, your normal launch at a BFL or your normal launch at an Open. And he goes, but you did that for 7 qualifying boats. He was like, what do you do when you get a couple hundred boats? I'm like, this is the same show. Yep. And so he said, I think you'd be a good fit to partner with me to take over the LBAA if you'd be interested. He goes, but the only problem is I got a resort to run. He goes, and I can't get away for all of the stuff. He's like, so it'd be, a little bit more on you than it would be on me, but I'll be here to help in the back end. And so a couple months went by, and we started talking back and forth a little bit and seeing if it's something we really wanted to do. And we finally met with Secret and Cheryl on the phone and had a little, like a Zoom call. And next thing you know, I was at the Classic in October, and we were taking over the reins. And it's an amazing deal what the LBAA is doing. So obviously, we had the old Women's Pro Tour back in the day when Bass or ESPN used to own Bass and all that fun stuff. And they used to send a lady to the Classic, and they did that for 2 years, or a few years. I think it was 2 years, only 2 years, but might have been 3. I might be mistaken. But they, and then when ESPN sold Bass, they was kind of left in a spot where, we might not have ladies fishing anymore. And Secret and Cheryl stepped up and took the reins and started a tour, and they had it going for 13 years. But like anything, everybody gets a little tired, and they want to fish now.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yep. So that's how we got here. That's the long story.
Yeah. Hey, that's meant to be, man. I mean, it's meant to be for sure.
Yeah, when we walked into Bull Shoals to actually, kind of start meeting the anglers, we showed up for the week. We already had a championship scheduled for our World Fishing Tour season-ending championship to send everybody to the Bass Team Championship down in Florida. So we couldn't stay the whole time, but we were there, I think, 2 or 3 days of practice, and then the first 2 days of the 3-day Classic, and just kind of, mingling around, trying to get to know people. And the first night when we walked in, they had their meeting, and they did like an awards ceremony, and man, they had me crying. I didn't know any of them. Like, I had tears in my eyes. Like, they were doing a tribute to Pam Martin Wells, and they were doing, all kinds of stuff. But I was like, this is a different element than, your traditional BFL where it's 98% guys, unfortunately. Yeah. It's just a little bit different, and it's more of a family atmosphere. I mean, you're obviously still going to have your little groups. No different than when you walk into a pro tournament. You got all the pros in one corner. You got all the single dads in another corner, and then you got the beer drinkers in one corner. It's no different, but it's more family. So everybody they root each other on, which is different. Us guys, if we don't catch them, most of us just go right back to the boat, wipe it down, rig it up, and go home. And they're hanging around a round of applauses and taking pictures and signing autographs. And speaking of the signing autographs deal, they got a 13-year-old girl. So she's already been fishing competitively in junior high and now in high school, but they got her so hooked on the LBAA, they were wondering how we could get her in, because the old format rules was you had to be 16 before you could even be considered. And so we were overviewing the rules and looking at how we grow the sport. And it really needs to start from the youth side of things. We've got a good, following on, probably that 45 plus age range, but we really need to find out how to attract those college anglers and those young BFL anglers and, even a junior high school angler. But at the same time, nobody wants to babysit a kid in their boat. So we wrote a rule that you had to have a couple years of actual hardcore tournament experience, not just going out with grandpa, fishing for a couple hours. So that way nobody's babysitting anybody on the boat. And that Carly girl, she was hooked. Yep. She can't wait. If you get a chance to go over to womensprobastour.com, there was 3 articles written about her last week by Pam Horn. And it's a good read. It's only take about 7 minutes to read all 3 articles, and it's worth a read.
Yes, Carly's actually a future guest. I want to say the middle of March. She's coming on and talking about herself.
Awesome.
She's a sharp young lady. She seems like every couple of days she's putting up something on Facebook or other social media that she's out there working it.
Yep.
She's getting partners and sponsors, and she knows what sounds like she has a great head on her shoulder and no stopping her now.
That's the great thing about getting into the sport young. It is way easier to go after a sponsor when you're 12 to 18 years old. I'll bring up one that just happened to get second place on, just happened to get second place. He's a hammer. But Brock Bila, which you guys should have him on your show sometime, but Brock Bila got second place in the MPFL, and he came up through the Kansas ranks a little bit before my time, but I got to meet him on his way out. He was going to Drury University, and I was taking over the ranks basically his senior year. So I got to meet him kind of crossing paths. Well, I'm good friends with the owner of Clutch Swim Bait Co. and Brock Bila because of, this whole pass crossing. And I started sponsoring Brock, anything and everything I could, just little stuff, a couple $100 a year just to help out with travel. And, I had tackle business, Temptation Tackle. And I was like, hey man, anytime you need tackle, he works at a bait shop, Bait Works, which is one of our primary sponsors. So he doesn't need a whole lot of tackle help, but every once in a while you go to those new lakes and you hear about them eating June bug Cincos with a Carolina blue tail. You can't just get those anywhere. So he would call up a special favor and we'd get him hooked up. And, but he's such a good kid, but I mean, we crossed paths and he's got, a lot of good sponsors because of it. He's got wholesale batteries and he's got my main construction company, K-Guard, and he's got Bait Works and all that stuff because he got him young. He was on the radar young for these local businesses, and that's where Carly has an advantage. And anybody that's younger has an advantage in the sport. Unfortunately, it's a lot harder to get sponsored at our age.
Yep.
So whether you're guy or female.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because the younger folks, they know all about the social media. I mean, they grew up with it, and we're kind of catching up. So they definitely have an advantage there.
we're lucky to get our mics working some days, right?
Yep.
Half the time I can't get my laptop to boot up properly. I'm like, what's going on here? And then my kids will walk in and they're 6, 8, 20, and 21, and they just, oh dad, it's just do. And you're like, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, my wife got a new laptop for Christmas, and I'm like, do you mind if I use it for a minute? She's like, no, go ahead. So I went to my 6-year-old daughter. I said, how do you turn this on? And she walked right over, goes boop. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but the kids are just so good with it. It's I mean, like my 6-year-old son, I've never showed him how to do anything, and he just grabs my phone and just takes off with it.
Yep. Same thing.
Yeah. I was like, how did you know how to use YouTube the first time I handed it to you? Like,
yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, Carly's actually on March 18th. I
awesome.
Looked it up. Yeah.
I'm excited to see how she does. Well, you'll get to see her post response of the first tournament. So that's going to be you're going to see lots of smiles out of that, even out of her, even though she could have a good tournament or a bad tournament. You're going to, it's her first pro tournament. It's kind of like Brock did last weekend. It's her first pro tournament. You're going to see smiles regardless if they think they failed or not.
Yes. And to me, that's the best part of the whole thing. Getting to see a kid smile and,
yeah, she does a good job. She's always active on social media. Anytime I pop up my social media, I see her post something from her. So she's all right. She's got the knack of it.
Trying to turn off my fish tank back there. I got a bunch of blue tilapia I got last year. I live on a private lake, and we're trying to grow some. We already got trophy bass in there for the state of Kansas, but we're trying to grow some real trophy bass.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
So
I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Anyways, we do have a couple comments I want to get through. Jan Hallman says, Rob, we do that too in tournaments at the BFL. Toyota opens, hang around, root others.
Yep.
Heckle Robert, goes up to everyone and talks. There's no surprise there, is it, Rob?
No. She's absolutely correct. We're actually going to get together for a couple of Del Hollow tournaments in March. So looking forward to it.
nice.
As for sponsors, they stuck with them 4 years. It's called getting old.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy to get old. Sorry, I got stuff dropping on the floor here, but
Oh, you're fine.
not used to sitting in a hard chair in front of a little tripod trying to makeshift show here.
Yep.
But we're making it work.
That's right.
Dick Hyde says, hello, guys. Evening, guys.
How's it going, Rich?
How's it going? So I've been watching a lot of the deals, and I know one of you guys are in the Northeast, one of you guys are down Kentucky?
Yeah, I'm in Central Kentucky, south of Lexington.
And then New York, right?
Yes.
Okay. So World Fishing Tour is going nationwide next year. So hopefully we can take LBAA a little wider too, so we can start attracting a little bit, bigger fields. Who knows where we'll go with it? It'll be based on numbers this year and feedback and everything, but it would be nice to be able to get, not into the same lakes all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
I know. I think it was one of our first shows. You said you were talking with somebody from Lake Erie.
I've got over 20 contracts out alone for the World Fishing Tour. We're going to most likely Buffalo, New York, Detroit, Michigan. So what is that? St. Clair. I get all the lakes confused. I got so many in my head.
Sure.
Going to Maine next year.
Wow.
For I think it's China Lake.
Okay.
Going
away from Chicago.
we're going to Kentucky a few times, Georgia a few times, Florida I think 3 times, state of Washington once, state of California once or twice. We'll have a heavy presence in the Ozarks, like how we launched, and then it's just taken off. It's finally people are saying, "Hey, bring it to us." So
yeah, it's great because some of these other organizations don't get to the West Coast as much as anymore like they used to. So that's a untapped market here, unfortunately, of late. Yeah,
so that's the one of the California reached out yesterday, and Lake Whatcom reached out about a month or two ago and signed a contract. But it's or not signed a contract, but verbally agreed. We're still working out the permits and stuff. But it's kind of weird that there's only one bass. There's like 3 or 4 decent ones out there. There's the one with the Bass Magazine. I forget what they call it.
Yep.
Bass Angler.
Yep. And then there's a couple of other ones, and there's a lot of ABA stuff out there. And then Bassmaster finally partnered with One Bass out there to be able to do some stuff out there. So that's good.
Yep.
Yeah. We need that out there. We need some West Coast presence. And I know the MPFL in their 5 or 6 year plan was, I think it was year 5 or 6, they were planning on going west. So hopefully we'll see that. I know they're going to Amistad this year for the championship. So I think you guys had a comment. What's that say? Where at in Georgia?
We're in Georgia.
So we are definitely going to Bainbridge. So that's Lake Seminole. We are definitely going to Kiwi. We were going to go to Hartwell with the city that we were talking to about Kiwi, or the county that we were talking to, but Clemson's were doing a little bit of a remodel on one of their arenas or auditoriums or something. So they don't want to accidentally schedule something where their ramp's out. Obviously, we could go out of the awesome ramp down there at Anderson, but we're building a connection with, I think it's Oconee County or something like that. I forget how they pronounce it. And then got connections with Lake Murray and stuff like that too. So we've got a lot of stuff in the works. Lake Norman. It's
cool.
We're going to have lots of options for the LBAA. That's all I know, because the World Fishing Tour has gained some traction. And so even if we can't do an LBAA stop at every single lake we go to, we might be able to do just a single day ladies tournament to try to build that ladies presence in the sport. And we're actually on the World Fishing Tour this year, highest placing female angler, because a lot of them are going to be husband and wives, or just male female combos. The highest placing female angler will win a free boater entry to the next LBAA event. So if they fish a World Fishing Tour with their husband, their boyfriend, or just their angler partner, they'll get a free entry. And if it's 2 ladies that are on the team, one can go as pro, one can go as co. So we up the ante by 50% and turn it to $600. Thanks to my company, Temptation. We're trying to reinvest into the areas that we feel like we need to grow the sport, which is honestly in youth and females, women's fishing. So
definitely, that's great, man. That's fantastic.
So
yeah,
who knows who that angler will be? I know we got a couple ladies going to fish with us at Grand, but somebody's going to win an entry to Toledo Bend. So hopefully they can make it.
that would be awesome.
Nice.
So how does that have the World Fishing Tour? Does it have to be male, female, or
nope?
It's
a traditional team tournament. So
okay.
the only difference is we're squeezing an entire 6-month schedule into 1 week. So instead of fishing the first Saturday of every month, we're fishing for an entire week, and you just have to qualify once.
Yep.
So you only have to buy in one time and qualify. But if you don't qualify that day and you got that whole week off, you can keep coming back and trying to qualify. Kind of like a win and you're in, or 1 out of 5 and you're in. It's basically how it works. 1 out of 5 and you're in.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So if you have 15 boats on a Monday, 3 boats are advancing. If you have 10 boats on a Tuesday, because Tuesday is usually the worst number, you would only have 2 boats. Wednesday is usually pretty close to Tuesday, and then all of a sudden Thursday, Friday to go like 15 or 20 boats and then possibly even 40 boats like it did last year on Grand. And then this year Grand is going to 9 stops. So they're doing 9 days. Saturday to Saturday qualifying, and then Sunday championship.
Okay.
Devin. Oh snap.
Mr.
Birch
says, "Oh snap, Mr. Birch in the house."
Yep.
And Carly Prevette says, "Hi guys, I'm just jumping on and have to go back and watch from the beginning."
Yeah, your ears were probably burning.
Yeah, that's probably why she popped on. She was mentioned a lot so far.
Yep. She was. You'll have to go back and watch it, that's for sure.
Barking Ruger says, "Doesn't she have 2 records?" I don't know.
Who's that?
Maybe. I'm going to assume Carly, but I'm not sure who he's talking about. So if he can just mention who he's actually talking about.
Yeah, which angler and which records. I love talking about records.
Yeah. And I think she had some picks with Cliff this past week.
Huh. Awesome.
So yeah, Joel, think about it. Let us know who you're referring to on that. So back to the LBAA. That is a pro and co format.
It is. Yep. Pro co random draw. The only time it's not random draw is if it's a brand new co-angler or a brand new boater that a co-angler brought in. We let them fish their first day with their friend to lower that anxiety or that barrier of entry, as we like to say, because it's nerve-wracking pulling up to your first tournament.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
I understand. But no,
my first pro co format, I drew Ish Monroe. You want to talk about nerves?
Hey.
I was like, that guy can frog with someone. I mean, he's one of the top 3 froggers of all time, and I gotta go fish with him on Toledo Bend.
Oh yeah, you must have had a great time.
I had a blast. I've never seen so many fish boat flipped over the boat. That dude's strong.
Yeah, he is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Ashley Klaus says, "Hi, Travis."
Hello, Ashley. That's Carly's mom. Or no, no, never mind. That's not. That's a BFL angler, All American.
Yep.
Yep.
Put my glasses on. I still can't read the names very well.
That's okay. I'll read them to you. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. I feel you on that. I fished my first Bassmaster Open on Toho in Florida, and I had Gerald Swindle day 1.
I drew Swindle on the Mississippi River. That's the best day of fishing I think I've ever had outside of fishing with like a parent. I mean, like somebody that I missed that's passed away, like a grandpa or whatever. But like outside of family, like most memorable experience I think I've ever had.
Yep.
Some of it's not appropriate to say online, but yeah.
Yeah, he do.
Yeah, Gerald's a good dude, man. Like him and his wife, man, they do some good things. Like I reached out to Gerald to we had a young girl in our Kansas program that went to every booth at a fishing expo and got all these interviews. And it was James Watson. She had interviewed James Watson, and he had said something about Gerald in his interview. So I sent it to him because she posted it on her little YouTube channel, and she only had like 20 or 30 subs. And I was like, Gerald, would you do me a huge favor? Because I know I haven't talked to you in a year or whatever since we fished together, but would you reach out to this young lady on her just comment on her YouTube thing? Man, I bet that lit her world up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it was like Gerald found her video,
Ashley says she's super excited to fish with you guys next year.
Yep. Ashley knows we've been talking a lot about, how to grow the sport with her and her girlfriend. And so it's trying to figure out how to grow the sport. There's a lot of female anglers on the East Coast. There's a lot of female anglers in Texas. There's a lot of them in Missouri. They're all over the place.
Yep.
But
Yes.
how do we know how do we get them there? That's the key.
Yep.
That's one thing I would love to see people comment on if there is a lot of people watching. Like, how do you find out about your fishing events if you're a female angler? Obviously, everybody knows about the BFL and the Bassmaster Opens and probably their local club stuff. But how do we attract that angler to the LBAA? I mean, it's not just money.
No, it's not.
So.
I know that's why I asked earlier. I think it was in the beginning of January. Any idea of coming up north? And
yeah,
and you'd mentioned Erie.
Yep. So I don't know for sure if we'll make it work for 2025, the up north part. But I definitely. Oops, Brock Beal is calling right now. Let me. Sorry, Brock. I'll call you back later. But with the World Fishing Tour going to so many stops, my plan is to do something lady driven, something bigger than we're trying this year. The free entry thing to the LBAA was just kind of a, hey, I'm in a spot I can do this. Why not try it?
Yeah.
But next year, if we go to 20 events next year, I would love to do a ladies event at every stop. I mean, in a perfect world, I'd love to do a disabled American veterans tournament at every stop too. And I mean, the kids tournament, like anything to get the people out there that don't get to get out there very often.
Yeah,
exactly.
So
Pam Horn says, better late than never. Hello, guys.
Hey, Pam. Pam gets to fish with us this year.
Yeah,
Cool.
she's a favorite of the show.
Yeah. We brought her on as a little staff writer, and she's writing articles for us, and Pam's doing a heck of a job. And so she's going to fish a couple events this year. Hopefully she can make them all. I don't know whether her schedule's pretty busy with fishing. So hopefully we'll see her at them all. I know we talked about Toledo and I think Bull Shoals for sure. So
Ashley Klaus says, I had absolutely no idea about the LBA. I just happened to see a post on Facebook about it.
awesome. How long ago? So just out of curiosity, how long ago did you hear about the LBAA on Facebook? So if it's been recent, that means I need to keep doing more work. If it's been in the last 6 months, I need to keep doing more work because obviously reach somebody new.
Yeah, there you go.
Jack Graves says, what's up, Travis?
How's it going, Jack? Jack's a Wichita, Kansas angler.
Okay.
Or that area of the country anyways.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. So there's 6 tournaments in the LBAA and then a classic?
It's 3 tournaments and a classic. So 6 tournament days, 3 events, and then a 3-day classic.
Nice.
But
and go ahead.
Is that enough? Oh, there's 4 this year. Sorry. There's 4. They keep their best 3. I messed that up. Sorry. 4 events and a classic. I get all my fishing stuff backwards.
That's okay. As long as you show up to the right event.
Right. Wouldn't that be embarrassing?
I've done it as a fisherman though.
Right. Show up with a hot pink trailer to a men's event, whatever for a guy's event. That'd be awesome. No, we got the trailers wrapped to match. So
okay,
we've got the World Fishing. We added the LBAA logo to the old World Fishing Tour logo or trailer, and then we added the World Fishing Tour. We had it completely rewrapped. The LBAA trailer, it needed a rewrap. It needed cleaned up a little bit, and it's been wrapped over so many times. We had to pull all that old wrapping off, and we put a nice, fresh, clean wrap on it, and then added the LBAA logo and World Fishing Tour logo to it. And then we're going to take both trailers to most events, because some of these events that we go to, they want to do the weigh-ins downtown, or they want to do something to do with the town, and so there's no good way to take them back unless you have a live release boat or a weigh release trailer. And
right.
So we're turning in the old World Fishing Tour trailer, which wasn't that old, and turning it into a live release trailer at those events that need it. So, and then it'd be an extra, storage for extra tanks and bags and everything else that you need to run tournaments, extra scales, all the fun stuff.
Oh yeah.
Ashley says it was the last 6 months when she saw it. Instantly told her besties we could jump in on it.
Sweet.
They ever came close to us.
It was in Georgia last year. They were where did they go? They've been to Lake Hartwell. They've been to quite a few Eastern. They rotate. They've been rotating around. They never really go north of Tennessee. They've been to Lake Norman. They've been east quite a few times. I don't know if they've ever been to Florida. I need to look up that because Florida is really, really interested in the LBAA and, of course, the World Fishing Tour. Harris Chain hosts a big bass event every year, if not 2 a year, 3 a year. And then same thing, they always host BFLs and MLFs and BPTs. And so they're definitely interested. They're about growing the sport in Florida. That's for sure.
Definitely.
Van Hendrickson says, Trev, have you thought about a yak series, especially for lady anglers? Tons of them out there, like Christine, for instance.
Yeah. I've actually been trying to get Christine to come over and fish with us. Obviously, she's dabbling in the opens again this year, but she had another good finish.
Oh yeah.
I think she's on a streak of 7 checks, or she's on. I remember her posting about a streak last week. She's on some weird streak. Yeah. That's amazing accomplishment for that field. That field's, even the co-angler side is stout.
Yeah,
packed. It's packed.
Yeah. But Van, we've definitely thought about doing. We're thinking about doing a little bit of everything. Bringing in kayak series to World Fishing Tour. I mean, we're going to 20 stops next year in 2025. So most likely, somewhere between 15 and 25. But it's not exploding in a bad way. It's exploding in a good way. And we're thinking about anything and everything we can do to grow the sport. And speaking of growing the sport, Van has a really cool Facebook group. You guys should join it, and he would let you guys share your podcast in there. At least I hope he did. Hope he would. But it's called Average Joe's, and then he's also got the Average Jane's shirts and stuff. But when he originally branded it, it was Average Joe's because it was just average guys and average girls that fished. Cool. And it didn't have to be. You didn't have to be a competitive angler and any of that stuff. It was about bank fishing and everything. So he's got it's probably 3,000 to 4,000 members on there, and it's a fun little group. They talk about good stuff on there from time to time, and good place to share your podcast too.
Cool, we'll do it.
I think he just said, "Heck yeah, I would."
Yep, he did. Lori Pitzard said 3 months ago she saw something about LBAA.
Awesome. I'm glad we're starting to reach some new people because we launched the TikTok. They already had the Instagram. They had a heck of a following on Facebook. They already had like 10,000 subscribers when we took over. I think 9,000.
Wow.
But it's all about content. You know the game.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
You guys are getting this thing off the ground, and I'm sure you guys are watching the analytics, and they start off kind of level, and you get that random spike. Then all of a sudden you get this, and then it's just a steady deal. I launched a YouTube channel to prove to the kids on Kansas Youth Bass. I literally just did it to prove that you can get funded in less than a year. And so I showed them that if you make 3 5-minute videos and this was before YouTube Shorts were really crazy. But back then I was like, if you just make 3 5-minute videos a week talking fishing, you'll be funded in a year. Share the heck out of it on every group that you can't get banned from. Because some groups have policies you can't share stuff like that. And promote the heck out of yourself, and you'll be funded in a year. And I got funded. I think it took like 11 months and 3 days to start getting funded on YouTube. And now it's even faster if you put the effort in. If you post the shorts, you post a long form video, and then you post all the shorts out of it. I mean,
that's what we've been doing.
Yep. Gary Vanderchuck or whatever. I think he posts like 80 videos a week.
Wow.
Now, he's not doing it all himself either, Rob.
Not now. But
no, I'm a big Gary V fan.
Yep.
And I've learned a lot from him.
Yeah, he doesn't do it all himself now because he's got Vanderchuck Media or whatever. But like when he started out, I mean, he posted a lot of content by himself. He was recording content before you could post content.
Wow.
Because he knew someday he would want it.
Yeah.
Which is so that's way ahead of us. Right. Yep. Someday this is going to be big. Let's record this.
There you go.
So
Barking Rugers was talking about Carly, about that young girl from earlier.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet.
Pam Horn says, I think the key to growing the sport is positive social media from everyone involved. Reaching out to everyone on their individual social media platforms increases that views and interest.
Absolutely.
That's a really good point, because this is a partnership. If you support an organization, or like you guys are supporting us, right? You guys reached out to me and was like, hey, we want to start this. We started this podcast. Would you want to come on for a couple shows? And then that's how the conversation started. I was like, absolutely, but I'd love to do more. And then we just started talking, and all of a sudden you guys said, we'll do a show every Monday night. And I was like, whoa, that's more than I thought we were going to get, but okay. And so it's a partnership. If I don't share your stuff, you guys aren't going to grow. If you don't share my stuff, we're not going to grow. Same thing with the ladies fishing the LBAA, the men and women fishing the World Fishing Tour, my tackle guys, like all those people that share my stuff, they're the only reasons why we're in business.
Yep.
Exactly.
Because if it wasn't for the guys and gals that supported us, we're nobody. So, and I honestly was just looking at my Facebook analytics just before I saw John's text about filling in tonight for Angie for her pop-up deal. And I was looking at the analytics, and I was telling my wife, just by sharing, I probably shared 10 or 15 posts about Brock and how he was doing in the MPFL, because he grew up in our Kansas program, Kansas Bass Nation program. And most of my friends are either from Kansas or Missouri or Oklahoma. So most of them know who Brock is by this point, right? They've had to fish against the kid. And so I was like, I'm going to make sure people don't miss this, because he's going to be live on camera on Sunday.
Yep.
There's a good chance he's going to be in the top 10 when I knew how he did on day one, as long as he, stayed on fish. And I knew what he was doing, because as a sponsor, MPFL does something amazing. This is another plug to sponsorships. MPFL allows their sponsors to go with their angler that they sponsor so there's a 30-day off limits period. But the first 10 days of it, you can take your sponsor, your camera guy, or a family member and have an extra pre-practice period. And so I was able to go to Logan Martin with Brock, and I think that's a huge shout out to MPFL for doing that, because not only does it give them a chance to bond with the family member, YouTuber, camera guy, sponsor, it gives us more reason to want to be involved with. I would have sponsored him no matter what. That had nothing to do with it, but somebody else might want to do that for a rewards trip for their top earner of a company. Sure. So I got sidetracked. I don't know what we were talking about before then, but I just remember when that MPFL thing came up. So
no, you're good. Whatever you do.
Yeah. So we got to support each other.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other tours, like, there's no reason. Like, one thing that drives me nuts is, like, everybody thinks this is like, especially team tours, and like back, there's obviously been the drama between MLF and Bass a couple years ago when the whole merch split happened, and it seems like it's not as much anymore because everybody's kind of settled in or jumping back, and it's not as much conflict on the Bass side. But I remember going to a couple of the Bass leadership conferences, and it was like, it's us versus them. No, it's not. Like, some of them are coming back. Some of these guys are going to leave. Like, it's going to do this all the time. And now that we got MPFL, you're seeing what's happening. If they all work together, they can fish more events.
Yep.
MPFL has 6, 7, 8 Bass Elite guys in it this year. Yes. I mean, Buddy Gross, like Tommy Biffle, like all those guys are fishing that thing this year. So it's like, you got some old school hammers. I mean, David Fritz sitting on the chair the other day. Like, that's an old Bassmaster coverage.
Yeah, he's top 10 day one. He did.
Yeah.
Fun, yeah.
So, I mean,
and I think that's the biggest complaint from fans and spectators is, why do they keep scheduling on top of each other? Yep. And you, as someone who schedules, knows that's not always the easiest thing to do.
It's not. And now that I understand the financial side of things, so the first 2 years I tried to schedule, I would put out all the schedules on a spreadsheet, and I would pick the 4 or 5 days that it would fit. And then, I still got negative feedback. Why'd you put this right after the BFL? Why'd you put it right before this? Why'd you put it right after that? I had a BFL on 3 hours from here on Saturday, so why'd you put it there? Well, I didn't know about your BFL. I did within an hour and a half or 2-3 hours of this lake, not lakes 2 states away. But I did my best. Well, now that we've actually finally gotten past the point of, we were getting some funding last year too, because we were, bringing in anglers to new resorts and stuff. But that without that funding from the cities, you're not going to make any money. I'll tell you that much right now. Not that I was in it for the money at all. But you're not going to be able to survive. The thing's going to go belly up in 3, 4, 5 years, whatever. Whenever you run out of money, you could go belly up halfway through the first year if you don't have any money.
Yep.
But the cities control more of the date than what the actual organizations do.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's where I was going with that. Like Grand Lake, when they said they wanted me back this year, love Grand Lake, didn't want to not go back. They said you can have these 10 days in February, or you can have these 6 days in October. Well, if you guys, everybody knows about fishing. Where's most of the championships at? In the mid, central part of the states, all the way down south. Most of the championships are in October or November.
Yep.
I was like, I got to take October. I got to take March, and then they wanted the LBAA, so that made sense to do the Classic in October there, because those ladies aren't going to be conflicting with these championships over here.
Right.
Or maybe they are. Maybe I just said something that catches on to what's going on with, why we can't find a whole lot of new boaters. Maybe that's one of the things. Maybe we need to move the championship for the LBAA to a different time of year. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Might have just thought of something.
There you go. I used to like it when they had summer championships. I'd like to see them do a championship up in New York, maybe a Classic or something like that in September.
Yep. I've had a few talks.
Instead of having it in February all the time.
Yeah, Maine's really wanting to host an event. They've been talking to me left and right, and trying to think who else up there. Buffalo, New York, and a couple other places up there, and they're all kind of talking about that. Late summer, kind of Labor Day, right after Labor Day. That area to host an event. So that would be a lot of fun to do that for the ladies or World Fishing Tour. So,
yep,
definitely.
All right. Travis Van says Travis supports all sorts of people in the grassroots organizations. He's been a godsend to Kansas, Bass Nation, youth fishing, and other local small businesses.
I appreciate that, Van. I'll do anything to help anybody if they ever have questions on growing their businesses and marketing and stuff. My main business, we spend anywhere from $800,000 to $1 million a year in marketing. So we got a little bit of a marketing background. The nice thing about it is I have a whole team that does that now, and I don't have to do any of it anymore. Oh, cool. So now I get to focus on everything else I have to do. And so I'm kind of still a one man show, other than the help I get, a little bit of help I get from Craig, and a lot of the stuff that Steve does on the back end to help me out moving trailers around and stuff. But for the most part, when it comes to everything else, it's usually just me. And that's kind of like Cheryl and Secret when they ran the LBAA. It was just the two of them.
Yep.
And they did a lot more than what I've been doing. I've been more worried about the growth than some of the stuff in the future, than some of the stuff that they were doing on the back end, keeping everything organized. I'm an organized later kind of guy, unfortunately.
Yeah. Ashley says regionals for BFLs are usually September, October, November.
Yeah. Ashley, it finally clicked when I was talking that out. I was like, maybe that's part of the reason why we're missing a few female anglers that we can't get. They like to fish the BFLs too.
All-American is in May, which she loves.
Right. And you're qualified for it. Go win that thing, girl.
There you go.
Yeah.
I told her, well, we have to have her, we have to have her back on, after the All-American, just to talk to her about her experience there and how things go.
Yeah. That's one thing. So kind of speaking of sponsorship, didn't really talk about how people approach sponsorship. I used to get approached like more than I wanted to be, put it that way. I used to get approached like, it felt like at least once or twice a week about tackle, once or twice a week about my K-Guard gutter company that we own here in Kansas City. Because that's my bread and butter, and that's where most of my financial comes from, or all of it, I should say. But I used to get reached out to all the time, and I try to never turn anybody down. And I bet I've only gotten asked. I got asked by Brock. I got asked by one youth angler team here in Leavenworth County, Kansas. And I haven't gotten the flood of social media requests that I used to get from like the kind of the Guggen wave.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody was getting into fishing. I was getting all these requests. And I honestly, not to bring any bad things up, but like I've taken on the LBAA and I haven't been asked one time by any of the lady anglers. So, or any of my World Fishing Tour anglers, except for one that I've been sponsoring for years on the tackle side. So it's, I've actually had some youth clubs that forgot to ask me to renew. And so I would have just wrote them a check. And the next thing you know, I'm not on the jersey. And I'm like, Okay.
Yeah, that's I did about 10 years in marketing. I had my own marketing company, and that was the biggest thing. If you follow up, people most of the time say yes.
Yep. Yep. The one
You know?
you gotta send the initial request. You gotta make a point. Sometimes you need to share a little bit of their stuff and show that you're actually interested in using their product, especially when it comes to fishing.
Yep.
Yes.
You don't just ask for a sponsorship and you've never bought a bag of baits. That's the guys I usually declined, but I saw somebody's TikTok today. I forget who it was. Forget his first name. His last name's Ruth, Routh. He's sponsored by Motion Fishing and a few other people. Clutch.
Luke, I think. Lucas.
Yeah, Luke. Yep. I was drawing a blank. Yep. But he put out a kind of a good TikTok today, and he talks real fast like I do, but he was talking about sponsorship. He goes, today is like, or this last week and a half, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, has been like a new girlfriend. When a guy gets a new girlfriend or girl gets a new girlfriend, whatever, you're sending her flowers and you're pumping her up and you're talking about this and talking about the pretty colors and this and that and whining and dining. And that's what people are doing with their sponsors right now. He goes, but what you don't remember is to do it in June and July when they actually need the sales.
Yeah.
He was like, you sell them early when you signed them and then you just leave them be. And we've got to do a better job on that. Every angler, including every organization, I'm guilty of it too. I need to be pushing products when it's all year round.
Yep.
Wholesale batteries needs people to buy batteries in July, I promise, even though most people are buying their batteries in July or January, but they still need more business, no different than any other tackle company or any other organization. So just reminds me to tell people to keep plugging along. Don't just treat them like a new girlfriend.
Yes.
Yep.
And Van says, reminds me, I need to put plastic orders soon. Spring is almost here.
Van, we just moved the shop. We still got about 2 more loads. I sold my old shop. We had a neighbor that just kept buying, I couldn't turn it down. That's one reason why I'm able to even take on the LBAA. It was a good enough offer, and they basically forced us to move. Well, I had 12,000 square feet, and the fastest building I could find was 6,000 square feet. Well, it's really hard to squeeze 12,000 square foot of stuff into 6,000 square feet. And so I grabbed another 1,200 square feet of storage unit just for the tackle stuff for a little while that I knew I wouldn't be using too much of, and then kept the rest of the tackle stuff that I needed to use weekly. But we finally found a building for Temptation Tackle, and we've started the moving process this week. And I told John when he made an order the other day, I said, it's going to be a week or two because we've got everything packed in boxes and we got to unpack. And of course, you know how it is when you're renting a building, they never get it done on time. The sheet rockers weren't done. The electric weren't done. Heck, I went in there today. They're still doing stuff in the building and we're moving in. So, but we should be set up and pouring by next week. So, and starting to put stuff back on the pegboards and all organized again.
Cool. Like I told you when we were talking, I'm in no hurry.
Yeah. So if anybody's seeing this, do not order baits this week from Temptation Tackle. I don't think I've ever turned down money, but please, and if you do, just give me a week or two to get it out, because we've got 6 or 7 pegboards full of stuff, 6, 7 colors wide, 8 to 10 packs on every pegboard, and it's all packed away.
Oh wow!
So, yeah.
Speaking of Temptation Tackle, we're at a point in the show where we like to let you talk about sponsors or people that help you along the way. If you want to go ahead and take the time to do that.
First of all, couldn't do it without the good Lord. He makes everything possible. Every morning we get to wake up with a sunrise or a sunset on, go to bed before sunset out there on the fishing. My wife, first of all, supports my crazy decisions, of coming home with the bass boat and, all this stuff that we've done and all these lakes we keep signing on. She's starting to wonder when she's going to see her husband when it comes to all these events. And then all the sponsors that's made it possible throughout the years, even the ones that we don't have anymore, that helped me get the youth program really, really going with some traction. It was already going great. My predecessor, Richard Heffel, had a really good program going. But I was able to take on right before COVID, and obviously COVID numbers and Guggen numbers were just insane. And then all the sponsors. So my biggest supporter has obviously been my business partner, which owns K-Guard Gutters with me. And then we have Wholesale Batteries has been an awesome supporter for me. and other youth kids that are in my area and other adults in my area. Gary Yamamoto and Beverly have supported the LBAA. Don't know if it's since day one, but I would be willing to bet it's been since day one. And even though, it's changed hands, they have signed back on with LBAA, having never met us.
Wow.
So we had a phone conversation with some of their staff and all that fun stuff. And they said that if it has anything to do with kids or anything to do with women, Beverly and Gary are all in. So there's been a lot of supporters. I mean, I'll forget everybody. Clutch Swim Bait Co. has been awesome. He's donated baits since day one to the biggest basses of every tournament that I've done, other than the youth program, just because don't really want to get youth into throwing $200 baits consistently. They'll break the parents. They already do anyways.
Yep.
So we didn't want to go down that avenue with the kids at that age, even though these kids can really throw a glide bait.
Yeah.
Don't want to get them hooked to them before they know how to catch the fish the other way. God, I probably got 30 sponsors I could think. The guys that gave me a shot for 1 year on the open. I mean, as a joke, I was talking to Brock Vila and Josh Plades that owns Clutch, and Brock was still at Drury University. I think it was his junior year. I said, you guys want to go fish the opens? They were like, we'd love to. I said, I'll help sponsor you guys if you guys will be my travel partners and help me keep me from driving. I said, because I really didn't know how to fish that well. I fished my home lakes and I fished little club tournaments and stuff, but I've never went out and fired $1,800 at a tournament. I had fired 1 year at the co-anglers with a buddy to help travel with him and help him with the expenses and stuff. But other than that, I had never fished a big tournament other than those 3 co-anglers stops that I went with him when he was a boater. And I talked both of them into it, a couple co-anglers in it. We were going to go travel the opens, and then Brock ended up not being able to get off because he had college deals, and his coach was like one or the other, and which was smart. It worked out really good. Now he's fishing pro and getting second in his first pro event. But we had a blast, man. All those sponsors, though, I posted a little thing on Facebook, and this is what I don't see. Take a picture of a jersey, edit it out, white it out on Microsoft Paint or your phone, Canva app, whatever, photo room, and put like $100, $200, 200, 300, 300, and 500, and then maybe $1,000 spot. And you would be shocked at how many people just go, I'll take spot A, I'll take spot B, I'll take spot C, that are just on your Facebook page. Your friends that own businesses.
Yeah.
Will give you $100 if you'll put their business name on your thing and actually do something for them. Shout out their businesses. Don't just take the money and run. Actually try to drive them some business. I know it's only $100 or $200, but try to drive them some business. And guess what? Next year they're going to give you 500. Year after that, they might give you 1,000. And like in Brock's case, don't want to talk about how much I gave him, but we're one of his 4 primary sponsors, and it's $50,000, $60,000 to travel the expense. So I know Baitworks is his primary and took the half of the cost, but it's a big chunk of change. But he worked himself up to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm
sorry.
Travis. Yeah, I was just going to say he was going to graphics design school, and anytime I needed something cut, edited, hey, Brock, I can't figure this out on how to edit this video, or he would be like, just send it over. I got you. So
a lot of people don't realize that you have to start at the bottom. I got friends that graduated college and thought I got a business degree. I should be a CEO of a company. Well, the real world doesn't work that way.
No, you got to know how to sweep the floor before you know how to own the business.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you talk about that $50, $100 and all that stuff.
Yep.
Well, I was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I started getting sponsors,
Yep.
And then all of a sudden I said, okay, if my shirt's worth this much, what's a hat worth? Because no matter what cover they have, they're going to show your face. Once you're on stage.
Yep. So I own K-Guard in Kansas and Missouri, right? The K-Guard Leaf Tree Gutter Company. And we're a franchise, nationwide franchise. And I think there's 46 locations. I had sent out a deal 4 or 5 years ago and said, hey, why don't we all pitch in $500 and we'll sponsor a Bassmaster Classic person? Somebody that we know that made the Classic for that year, the Elites and the Classic.
Yep. And
they all just kind of laughed at me. We wouldn't get any business back off that. I was like, it's not about that. It's about impressions. My branch might not get a job and the next branch might get 2 jobs, And the next 3 branches might not get any, but it's still impressions. It's no different. When I say tissue, what do you guys say? What's the brand that comes to mind if I say tissue?
Kleenex is it.
Yep. Okay. If I say soda or pop or, whatever, what do you think of when, most people call it a Coke, like half the country, even if they're asking for a Dr. Pepper, can I get a Coke? What kind of Cokes you got? It's like, it's no different. I was like, it's impressions, guys. Let's brand it. And so I sent that stuff out Saturday morning when Brock was on live coverage. That K-Guard logo was in the left-hand corner of that screen for 6 hours.
Wow.
Tell me that was not worth a couple $100 a dealership. Instead, I paid for it all. But it's like, come on, guys, let's start sponsoring a youth angler, a BFL angler, anything that's got coverage, not necessarily BFLs, but like a Bassmaster Open anglers, that has a day 3 coverage, and MPFL anglers, Bassmaster Classic, golfers. I mean, I don't care what sport we're talking about. Anything that has any kind of streaming or coverage, let's all pitch in to get that collar on a golfer's shirt, that hat. They call it co-op money in a lot of sports. I mean, Chris Wisnet's a good example of this. We were talking about this. He got sponsored by Saney America a couple years ago for the MPFL, and then he had to take a year off because his mother was sick with an illness, and unfortunately she has left us behind, and God bless her and the family and everything. But Chris is back on the road, and he went to Saney again and asked them if they would sponsor. And dealing with corporate takes a long time, and Chris has figured out a way to go after co-op money. And that's the same thing with K-Guard. There's 46 locations. So I reached out to him and said, let's start having a conversation about co-op money. Let's get more of these guys out here fishing, more of these ladies out here fishing. Imagine how many views a lady would get in the Classic in today's world.
It'd be
Think about that.
It'd be viral.
I don't care if it's Pam Martin Wells that's already made a Classic, or, one of our young up-and-comers, Hillary Sue, Scott Martin's daughter. Like, imagine any of these young ladies make a Classic, or any of these ladies that are, still fishing with us that made a Classic, how much coverage that would get now. Or how much coverage it should get, and how much that would be worth to, a company.
If she made the final day, there'd always be a camera on her. I don't care if she was in last place or first place. There'd always be a camera on her. Yeah,
unfortunately, when Pam and God, I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. I feel terrible. The very first person to make a Classic that was female. Drawing a blank real quick. See, this is what I get for not doing stuff organized tonight. I would normally have all my notes to be able to look down at, but filling in.
We threw you into this one, Travis.
No, I know, but now I'm forgetting the most important name in female bass fishing. Not saying that Pam's not. Pam's the GOAT. But
Australia, I know who you talk about. I think
Bain Moore, Kim Bain Moore. I knew I'd think about it. I was like, man, it's one of those things like you can picture Tiger Woods and you're getting ready to talk about Tiger Woods, and all of a sudden you're like, the Nike hat, the red shirt. You know what I mean? Like, but think about if those 2 ladies that made the Classic, and it was and there's a lot of bad stories about it and how some of the guys treated the ladies back then because they didn't want them there. But now it's more accepted in our industry. It's widely accepted in our industry for the most part. There's still some of the old guys that don't want women there, but they also don't like Taylor Swift at a Kansas City Chiefs football game. So those guys got other issues. But imagine if they would have made the Classic in our technology now, because that was early 2000s or whatever it was, or late 2000s. I'm trying to remember. It's been 14 to 17 years ago, whatever it was. When it was in that. But imagine we didn't have this kind of coverage. I mean, we were probably still dialing in our internet.
Yep.
So videos weren't a thing.
No.
So,
all right.
I did want to mention, though, for the ladies, you got long hair. I don't have the other hats in yet. Hopefully they'll get here soon. We have ponytail hats in like 7 different colors. You go fishing, it'll help build the LBAA. We just got them on the site for cost. But the embroidery was like $20 of the work, and the hat was only a couple bucks. So we do have those on there. So if you guys would help order LBAA hats and wear them and help us build the LBAA back up to where it should be, where women are fishing for the right amount of money, not just a little bit of sponsorship money we've gotten and plus the entry fees. I would throw in some tackle too. So I'll throw in some Temptation tackle and send it your way too.
Yeah, if you want, what we'll do is we can we'll talk off screen.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. We even got
I
carpet
don't know.
stickers.
I don't know if that ponytail hat will work for me. So
Right. I've got some Richardsons coming. I like an idiot. I was ordering World Fishing Tour stuff, and I've always done Richardsons for that. And then I was thinking ladies, and my wife loves the ponytail hat. And then I thought about it after I got them. I was like, I'm an idiot. Not every lady has long hair, and not every lady likes to wear a ponytail if they do have long hair. And I'm like, I'm learning. You know what I mean? It's a learning curve.
Van says he's got a jet. Good seeing you.
Good seeing you too, Van. Appreciate you stopping by.
And Lori Pitzard says she's gonna have to order one of those for sure.
Awesome. I'll throw in some tackle for her. I was gonna say something else. I forgot. Oh, we are still 3 boaters short for Toledo Bend. So there's gonna be 3 co-anglers left out of Toledo Bend if we don't get 3 more boaters. So if anybody's watching this in the state of Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, that's within driving range of Toledo, that wants to make that drive, heck, I don't care if you're in Georgia, Florida. If you won't make the drive, come on over. But we need 3 more boaters, so that way we don't leave a lady at home. I'd hate to see a lady not be able to fish.
Yep, definitely.
It's like leaving a kid at home. I don't want to see that. Like,
I was almost that person at an event.
Yeah.
And it's not a good feeling.
No, not at all. I mean, that could burn somebody out and they'll never come back. You know,
Yeah.
We don't want that. So I want to make sure everybody gets on the water anytime they can. I don't care if you're, like I said, disabled vets, elderly. It don't matter. Like, let's get the people out on the water when they need to get out on the water. So if you're a boater and you're a female and you want to come out and boat, hit me up. We need to make a payment plan if we have to. Let's get everybody out there.
All right. Last question or statement of the night before we let you go. John, you mentioned Carly Prevet Fishing. Awesome that she gets to join us this year. She's my girl, and I haven't even met her yet. Just got through Messenger about Toledo Bend.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Pam is her mentor link this year. I reached out to Pam. I thought she would be a great fit. Pam's amazing with the youth. She's amazing with the youth to begin with. It don't matter what, male or female. But she's always tried to get get the anglers out there. And so I was like, who would be a good fit? And I was like, Carly's from Arkansas, Bull Shoals area. Pam loves Bull Shoals. I was like, I'm gonna reach out to Pam. I know she said she couldn't make Toledo, but I need to talk to her about this. And so yeah, it all worked out.
Awesome.
So. Well, thank you very much for stepping in, sir. I know we got 3 or 4 more shows you lined up throughout the year.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to talk about now.
Hey, it's fishing. We'll figure it out.
Right. I'll have to ask you guys questions because if not, I'll talk all night.
All right. Sounds good to me. All right.
Right.
Thank you very much, Travis. Take care.
We'll see you guys later. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Bye. Woo. Wow.
Hey, difficulties still made it.
What's that?
I said even technical difficulties, we still made it.
Yes, sir. All right. So if anybody has any friends around Toledo Bend, let them know. Have them get in touch with LBAA. We don't want anybody left on shore, especially if it's going to be a youth angler. You know, got to get them out fishing.
Yeah.
Anything else?
If you're on the border thinking about fishing, go ahead and jump in. You'll have a good time and a great group of ladies for sure. So if you've been on the line thinking about it, make the jump.
Definitely. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you tomorrow. And we're going to have a co-angler on. I can't remember who it is right now. I'm blown away with Travis and made me forget who it was. So same time tomorrow, 8 p.m. Everybody be safe. Have a great night. Talk to you later.
Peace out.